a lot.
We love
Y'all
it.
a goddamn mess.
Gaslighting.
What is that? Because I've been accused of that one before.
It is when it's basically, if you had to boil it down, it's when you invalidate somebody's feelings.
Nope.
I said if you had to boil it down, there's a longer definition, but you boil it down, you invalidate somebody's feelings. That's not. What's the definition? What's the definition? What's the definition then?
That's an example.
Oh.
He gaslighted you quick as fuck, and you went for it.
I did.
Damn, jumped out of the seat.
I'm easy pickings. What can I say?
just easily ignited.
I am.
I didn't see her get ignited though. I saw her become submissive.
Huh?
Then what is the answer, white man? See how that works? Did you see how that works? Do you see how the dynamic?
What is the goddamn definition of gaslighting?
How the power dynamic works.
If you or I would have said it, she'd have been like,
it was
that's
exactly for real over there. It is a goddamn definition.
Matter of fact, it happened. I said it first.
See what I mean?
And she was like, I said it, you boiled it down. Jake said, that's not it. Well, what is the definition then?
This is a case study.
Oh my God.
This is definitely a case study. Did you see how
my
that worked,
submission
Jake?
to a white man? Okay,
White supremacy,
yes,
live in front of you,
live and direct.
I tell you all the time.
The effects of slavery.
Tell you all the time that black people are doubly infected with the disease of white supremacy.
We believe it.
White people are infected with white supremacy only from the positive. You the shit, you the shit, you the shit. Black people doubly infected. White people are the shit, out of shit, out of shit. But also, you ain't shit, you ain't shit, you ain't shit. Doubly infected with the disease of white supremacy.
All right.
It's okay. I don't take it personally.
Now that I bow down to the white man, what's the definition of gaslighting?
We understand.
Yeah, the definition of gaslighting, and we're talking about this because the thing is, like, now these terms, this has been going on in dating, right, with single people for years and years, but now I think with the focus on mental health, we have terms to describe all of these actions. But gaslighting is a form of psychological manipulation in which the abuser attempts to sow self-doubt and confusion in their victim's mind. So typically they're seeking to gain power and control over the other person.
Self-doubt.
You hate the thing you use.
Confusion.
Yep.
You hate the thing you use so effectively.
Language. I hate the language.
Why?
Because really all it said, even the totality of the definition, even before the definition, right? E4O said this is, a lot of this language is birthed out of the overwhelming overusage of therapy definitions in our language these days.
Okay.
Right? Everybody suffered trauma. No, motherfucker, you just grew up. That's part of this process, you punk.
You're going to go through some shit.
You're going to go through some shit.
So you don't think
Man the fuck up.
You don't think, wait.
Or woman up.
So pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. That's always been
pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
No.
Put your fucking panties on. Grow the fuck up.
What do you
this
think
is life.
pull yourself by
You're
your
going to
panties
fall
on
down.
mean?
You're going to get a boo-boo. It is going to...
Hey, ITZ, it's your girl. Apparently, I have a new stage name, Sean Watson.
Sean, coming to the stage.
Shout out to Chris the Critic, who is
Watson.
madly in love with my new Facebook name,
I
Sean
love it, though.
Watson.
It's like a new persona.
I feel like people have been calling me Sean for like since I've joined ITZ.
And nobody called you Sean before?
Not really.
I need to like,
but I'm okay with that.
What's combined?
But what's up, guys? Shout out to Herb and Two for having me on their show last week. It aired last Friday. Please go check out the episode. We didn't just talk about gaslighting, but that was probably one of the most fiery things me and Two talk about. That is my arch nemesis, Mr. Toussaint Werner. Shout out to them. And hey, Gina, I missed you.
I missed you too. God, I feel like I was gone forever.
Oh my God.
You guys had some fun last week, though.
We did have a little bit of fun, but I saw the episode about caring for aging parents. I tried to make it through. It was a little hard.
Yeah, it's a heavy topic. It was not one that, it wasn't like what this one's going to be.
Yes, we needed a little bit.
Yeah, we
some education. Shit
happens. Like, it's something that people go through, and it's something that a lot of us are impacted by, but we don't talk about it all the time. So it was good to get that kind of off our chest,
I really, it gave me some insight because I am going to, my grandfather at some point, maybe in the next year or so, is going to start living with me. He's 95 years
So
old.
live with you?
Yeah.
The 90s are priceless.
So
I'll give you some tips.
He's a Spitfire.
That'll be funny. They have no problem telling you what they want.
Not at all.
None.
So this particular episode, we don't have any guests, but
there's opportunity.
We haven't done this in a while. We're gonna put the StreamYard link into the chat. And if you are so inclined to come in here and try to debate us on gaslighting, please, or agree with us, because who doesn't want to be validated? Please, when Jake shares the link, feel free to hop in. We'll have you come on for a few minutes. You can tell us that we're absolutely wrong or that we're the shit. I'm okay with either.
Yeah. And we'll cut you off if you get out of hand though.
But
Jake's got the button.
But let's get into
He'd be like, bye.
You gonna make Jake kick him out?
Yes.
Damn.
If they're tripping, yeah, they gotta go.
Damn. All right, Jamal.
I'm draconian, damn it.
Damn. All right, well, let's get this party started. So I guess the first thing, and we talked about it a little bit on Herb and 2, is the definition of gaslighting. So I know there are very like clinical, flowery definitions. For me, it's as simple as invalidating somebody's feelings, telling their feelings are not real and that they're making shit up.
Okay, let me give you the origin of gaslight.
Go.
Okay. I was a film major in college.
Were you really?
I was a media communications major, which a lot of that had to do with film. We had to watch a lot of super old movies, which is why I've been hip to gaslight for a long time. Mm-hmm. And it was, I've been using the term, I originally, but I've been using the term for a while because it was interesting. It was adapted. It was a movie that was adapted from a play. So there's a British play called Gaslight. And it was about a man who was trying to make a woman think she was crazy so that he could steal from her.
Oh.
Yeah. So he was doing little things like moving things and like lights and like all this stuff to make her think that she was insane so that he could take things from her and say, you're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. Right.
That's curious.
Then it was adapted to a film in the 40s with Ingrid Bergman. And it was, they kind of expanded the plot. It's a very good movie. So it's a 1944, 45 film. I suggest you try to dig it up from somewhere.
You know, these people are not watching no movie.
I mean, but if you want to know, nobody cares.
If Captain America or Black Panther ain't in it, these people don't give a fuck.
But you know what? It's an entertaining film, and it's like nobody cares about the history of anything.
Facts.
But you're standing on somebody's back all the time, right?
Unless it's DCEU or Marvel, they don't care.
If you really want to know where something began and really understand it, then it's always good to go back in history and see where it originated, and that's exactly where it originated. It originated from that.
So what's interesting is when we got into this whole gaslighting and when I brought this up, right, I've had, as you all see, a conversation with Herb and 2 about gaslighting. And the thing that struck me is that one, sorry, man, I'm gonna have to throw you under the bus. My bad. Not really. A, either they say they have no idea what it is, or B, their whole position is, why is stuff my fault? Like, why do I have to be wrong? And it's very curious to me because that's not remotely in the definition. That's not in the definition of gaslighting. Nowhere, no how.
Well, people are misusing the term.
Oh, how so? What do you mean by that?
I mean anything but what I said, right? Mm-hmm. So if you think it's anything but what I said a minute ago, and this is a verifiable fact. You can look it up if you want. If you think it's, I don't know what people think it is. It's like, I don't want to be responsible for your feelings. It's like, well, no, you're actively, if you are gaslighting, by definition, what you're doing is you're doing things to manipulate someone's feelings. That's what you are doing if you're gaslighting.
And the goal, similar to the movie, right? In the goal of possibly not being accountable.
Exactly. Or doing something nefarious.
Ooh, that is such a college level word.
But it's the truth.
Wow.
If you are doing something that is not above board, like I told you, the original gaslight was this guy was doing something to this woman, making her think she was crazy so that he could steal from her. That was the original premise of the play.
What is J Law talking about? When the stove light gas, y'all like it. Now it's a problem. When the stove lights gas, y'all like it. J Law, I actually wanted J Law on the show because he is a professional Facebook troll. So I feel like somebody who professionally gaslights should be on the show. But J-Law, if you have a few minutes, it may be interesting for you to hit the link. There is a link in the chat to join the chat if you want to pop on and debate us on this, or even educate us, or tell us we're fabulous. I'm fine with any of those options.
I'm fine if you start with 3 and you can move your way down.
Have you been gaslit?
Well, yeah.
Are you gonna share with the
Absolutely.
group, or?
So years ago, I dated this guy who was trying to make me think that I was losing my mind because really he was doing drugs and he didn't want to own up to it.
Oh shit, that's
so
real
he was
serious.
Trying to pretend. He's like, "You're paranoid." Or here's a much better example. This is actually kind of funny. So I met this guy, right? And he told me I should have known something was up with this. He said, "I don't want all of your time. I just want your extra time." Okay, Prince. And I did a little bit of backstory checking. Turns out he lived with someone and he had this whole other thing going on. And then he tried to tell me when I called him on it. And we really never started.
Mhm.
We never got off the ground, right? Because I always suspicious of him. And he kept telling me that I was overly suspicious and that was my problem. Because, I just never trusted him and believed anything that he said. When
Seriously?
realistically, he was not trustworthy and he was not to be believed. So he was trying to make me think that I was overly suspicious when in reality, he had a whole situation going on that he was not being honest.
That's so curious to me. But I don't think people would see that necessarily as gaslighting. It 1000% is an extreme version of gaslighting, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think people would see that necessarily as being gaslit. Now, me personally, I probably see more micro gaslighting.
Okay, tell me what
so Facebook is a great example of being gaslit, right?
Oh yeah.
So you make a post, somebody posts something, like shout out to Part of My Ugly, because I get gaslit in there all the time, and somebody will say like fat women will never get a man, right? And then I'll say something like, oh my God, aren't we bored of this conversation? And then somebody will say something like, you hate black men. I'm like, I hate black men because I'm bored of you guys beating up on black women. Or they say what you say is stupid, or what you say is crazy.
Oh, crazy.
Crazy. They love a good crazy.
The crazy thing is the one that, because I believe there are a lot of people along the lines of gaslighting.
Yes, Jamal, we're gaslighting you for the links.
It's like, right, yeah. There are a lot of people that are crazy catalysts. I wrote a whole column about that.
Do tell. Tell us about it.
So there are people who drive you crazy and then accuse you of being crazy, and that's gaslighting, right? If somebody who they will make you feel a certain way, they will take you off your square in a way, right? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then they'll accuse you and they'll say you're just crazy. It's like, well, I was fine before. Like, you know what I mean? Like they will make you think intentionally that you're crazy so that they can then
continue to do what they're doing
and do whatever it is they want to do.
One of the things, and I think I brought this up, and I know Jamal, we're trying to figure out how to get you in here because he's just fucking itching to hop into this chat. I see like
pregnant with whatever he's got to say. Gotta get it out.
One of the things me and Tu and Herb were kind of battling about, right, is this sense of being right and wrong and gaslighting, right? And one of the things I kept saying is that when you're in relationship with somebody, and we talked about this, shout out to Chris the Critic, because we had a whole conversation about communication and relationships.
Sure did.
And I think this is an important piece of like gaslighting, right? The kind of communication you have, because that will avoid being gaslit or gaslighting somebody, is this sense of trying to be right or not be wrong, right? So, and that's the thing. He kept saying like, well, why do I have to be wrong? Well, why do I have to acquiesce? Why do I have to do what you say?
You're wrong. If you're gaslighting someone, by definition of the traditional sense of gaslighting, you know what you're doing is wrong.
What? I actually disagree with that, right?
Really?
Because I think it's not necessary to me. It's not about right or wrong. It's more about impact, right?
It's about manipulation, but you don't manipulate somebody without
True. Well, you're wrong when you start to not acknowledge their feelings, right? Because the conversation could start as much as what you said was hurtful. Like, I'll give an example. My boyfriend and I had a bit of a fight the other day. He did something that hurt my feelings. I won't get into like the details of it. It wasn't anything big. It was kind of like it wasn't petty, but it bugged me. And when I approached him with it, his first thing was like, I didn't do that. And I was like,
No, you 100%.
Yes, you did. What are you talking about? Yes, you did. He's like, well, you took it wrong. Now, I acknowledge that I'm not the most fun person to fight with. Not because I'm like ultra aggressive, because I'm super matter of fact. So you don't know how to like gauge me. And this is a fairly new relationship. So he's like, I don't know how to like fight with you yet and it not be like
Just
a thing.
don't fight with me. I'm right. That's what you tell him.
So I'm just like, hey, Jamal just popped in. He found the old link. Because it's the old link from before. So one of the things I had to really get him to understand is I'm not trying to like, this is not about a fight. You did something that hurt my feelings.
Right.
And I just want you to know it hurt my feelings. And once he got that, he was like, that wasn't my intent. And I was like, cool. I figured it wasn't your intent, but we just need to have a conversation that going forward, stuff like that hurts my feelings. And I assume you don't want to do that again. So it's my job to say, hey, that hurt my feelings. And for you to kind of get it. Now, why he struggled with that at first, because he did the classic man thing of like getting mad because I was mad. No. Then he got mad. It got irritated. And I was like, you can't get mad because I'm mad. That's not going to work. Because I'm always going to outmad you. I'm going to outmad you.
That right there is I did.
It's gaslighting.
Do that. He used to try to get mad at me because I was mad at him, and I was like, no. You don't get to be mad at me just because I'm mad at you.
Jamal, not Jamal. Jake, can we bring Jamal in? Because he's shaking his head with his alpha shirt on. He is ready.
Jamal,
what you shaking your head for?
How you doing?
Can y'all hear me, man? I got so much to say about this. Am I
what you got to say, Jamal?
Well, first of all, this whole conversation about gaslighting is really about the lack of efficacy of the person who feels gaslit. Now, if somebody's saying something that pushes your button, that's not a them problem. That's a you problem. So let's just get to that.
Let's back up a little bit. Okay, so the concept of gaslighting isn't necessarily just verbal, right? So the origination of gaslighting is actually like, turning off a light. Did you turn that light off? No, I didn't. Yes, you did. There are actual tangible acts. That's the origination of gaslighting. So it isn't just about you're making me feel this way, so therefore, it's like I'm insecure anyway, and so therefore, sometimes yes, that people who are trying to manipulate you will play on your own insecurities about yourself.
All right. So the second thing that threw me off was Sean sitting here talking about how she didn't want her man to get her upset. So like, because he might have gaslit her, then she used this emotional terrorism on him.
Wait a minute. Whoa. Wait a goddamn minute. I emotionally terrorized him. How so? How did I do that?
You don't want to see me angry. You know I'm
not what
you.
I'm
the one.
At no point.
Feel good. Make me feel nice.
I never said any of what you're saying. What I said was I'm unpleasant to argue with. I didn't say this in the moment, but I'm saying this in general. I'm matter of fact when I argue, which can throw people off and make it unpleasant to argue with me with. I'm just stating what is. I'm not saying I approach the conversation like, nigga, you don't want to argue with me. I'm going to fuck you up. Like, that's not what I said. What I did say when he started getting mad because I was mad is, that doesn't really make sense or effective for you to get mad because I'm upset. Maybe you should just dig in a little more and find out what the issue is, and then we can have a conversation about that.
So
that was actually my words.
Not to carry over from the previous show before you.
Of course you do. Come on.
But there was this piece in there about fighting and trying to communicate via the fight. Let's be clear. I'm a veteran. I've been married over 27 years.
Might you also be an alpha?
Wait, how'd you guess that?
I don't know how to figure that out. I'm not quite sure.
Salute to you. Let's get you gotta fly that flag sometimes. Fly the flag. But my point is this. So when you've been with someone for a long time. Like, you know, me and my wife, 27 years, and ain't nobody going nowhere. Yeah, word, right? So when we fight, and it's not often, but when we do, it's over nothing. And I think you hit it earlier when you spoke to you said it's not over the sandwich.
Yeah.
It's over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's over the 14 things that happened before the asparagus.
Exactly.
Yep.
But I think we've secured enough equity within the marriage that we know this momentary knockdown, drag out we're about to have. And even the things that are said, because I know you, Sean, you said certain things you don't want to say because you want no. Say them.
I don't want to say I'm sorry. You're right.
Right, them things need to be said. Sometimes somebody needs to cry and be a little hurt, and then
first of all, I like your wife, and this sounds abusive. Just so we clear.
Let's be clear. I'm the one crying. I'm the one who usually has to go into the fetal position after the fight. But the point is, at the time, you know, I say some things, man. Stuff gets put on the shelf quite often. Like there was this other piece, like it was a zero sums game. If one person wins, the other person doesn't. No, sometimes one of us is wrong. Sometimes one of us just got it wrong, and we need somebody to help us get it right. Now, how you get me right? Look at me. I went straight to me being the wrong one. But anyway, how she gets me right is important.
That's because men are usually wrong.
All right. Yeah, you can have that. All right. But the point is, when you're getting this right, there's a certain way. Now, I'll admit that there is a certain level of button pushing only because we care so much about that person. Like, I really need my wife to be on my side of things. She's one of the smartest people I know. If she's not, I know something's wrong. And then I feel bad about being on the wrong side of history, knowing that I might be wrong. So I have to prove my point to get it to the point where, okay, I wasn't wrong. But
that's all ego, Jamal. That's not about her. That's about you needing to be right.
I started this conversation saying that the gaslighting is on the person who gets gas lit, not the person doing the gaslight. And I fully acknowledge that I got some issues, right? And that woman knows how to bring the worst of them out when she wants to. And knowing that when she does want to pull the worst out of me and she does it, I'm obligated to give her that. All right, you wanted this anger? Let me get it out, rah, and then we'll be friends in the morning. Because you know how I go down in the morning. I'm just saying.
This is my entire. You started this off by saying, what did you say at the top of this again?
I don't remember.
See, this is why you can't pontificate. Stop that goddamn pontificating. But you said something that I wanted to dig into. Like, damn it, I don't even remember. God damn it, he went on for 15 minutes. And this is why I got to take notes with fucking Jamal.
Get all his points out. I'm mad at you.
Oh, isn't the point like, okay, I think I found my footing now. These are people you love, right? Fact. I'm not talking about people you don't give a shit about, because if you gaslight them, you gaslight them. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. When you care about somebody, don't you care? My mother used to tell me all the time, when you fight with somebody, you have to leave them with dignity. Don't you care? Don't you care not to browbeat them or make them or to leave them feeling like they lost, as we talked about in the other one? Like, you don't want them to walk away feeling like they lost. I mean, and what do you really win if you like make them ultimately feel crazy, like they have to question their feelings, and you won? What'd you really win?
But sometimes he wins, sometimes she wins, sometimes.
So no, but if they walk away feeling crazy, what did you win?
That's a different thing.
What'd you win?
Let's be clear. The only way she became my mate was she was a strong person, right? Mm-hmm. Like, this little tit-to-tat ain't gonna rock her world and make her question her being. However, I'm a coach. I come from a strong family of coaches, and we believe that education is nothing more than an experience that changes your behavior. So when we have these discussions and interactions, they must be experiences, especially if it's an experience I don't want to have ever again. So it has to go to a point that no one wants this to happen again. But in that process, while we're having the experience, there's this education piece where we want a learning to occur, right? That, like, hey, when I call you, I ain't gonna tell you what she called me that throws me off, but when she calls me that, she knows, oh, it's on. Oh, we're fighting tonight? I didn't know we was fighting. Let me get myself prepared, because I didn't know you was gonna use those words. And it's cool, because that's what I'm here for. I'm her mate. I'm her lover.
You're here to be a...
So do you feel like your arguments are You have the same like 5 arguments over and over again, or do your arguments vary?
Nah, we deep, man. We find anything to fight about. And I have to admit, we're a fighting family, which is why I fight on Facebook.
So you just lied. You said y'all don't fight that much. Now you say y'all fight all the time.
I had to say that so I can have some type of credibility and legitimacy for other stuff to talk about. Oh,
Oh my god.
So you came into the podcast lying. That's okay. Got it.
He's gaslighting us.
Gaslighting.
You absolutely gaslit us.
Let's get it.
The goddamn professional. I feel like men are professional gaslighters.
Where's your wife? Look.
I love his wife. I think she's
the only reason I was
fucking
fucking
adorable.
I've never met his wife.
She's adorable. I have no idea how he landed her, but she's amazing.
Well, he knows that. And so 27 years together or married?
So 24 married, 29 together. Don't get me started with the numbers. Come on, man.
How'd you meet her?
FAR. We're at the U of I. I'm about to get online. About to do
FAR?
that frat thing.
FAR is you didn't go to U of I? No. U of I is U of I. FAR is one of the dorms there's a FAR, PAR. I did go to U of I for like 6 seconds. So yeah, that's what FAR is.
Oh, okay.
So long story short, the bro said, don't go out. And me and my man, we went out for the last time because we knew it was about to go down. And then I wanted to have a cutie sort of take care of me when it got a little too hectic, just in case I needed somebody to rub me down or what have you. And she won.
Rub you down.
So Jamal, I'm gonna ask you a stupid question about gaslighting because I know where this is about to go, but that's fine. We're gonna do it anyway. You understand? You're very smart, so I'm sure you understand the concept of gaslighting, correct?
Sure, facts.
Okay.
As defined.
As you understand it.
So I missed the opening, but I thought I had a pretty good grip.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think the term is just a way for people having a feeling, right, to not be accountable for their own feelings? Does that question make sense? Because I was making sure I understood it.
So I want to say no, just because I disagree with it again, right?
You disagree with the term, or
the way you just sort of set the table with the idea of gaslighting, right? I think people who gaslight for whatever reason, have some insecurities going on or for entertainment purposes alone. I don't know why they're doing it, but they're not doing it. They're doing it to see the reaction, right? And then they go, oh, I didn't know that's how you was going to
doing it for their own gain.
But they're doing it for some stuff.
I don't even know if it's a game.
No, I can tell you.
Consider the entertainment even game,
As
right?
defined, it's the game.
What kind of narcissist gaslights for entertainment?
Asshole.
But back to the question at hand. Is it so the person whose feelings are hurt doesn't have to be accountable for their own feelings? Said no.
Yes, the person who's hurt has to be accountable for their own feelings. If you're disrespected, if somebody you don't know can hurt your feelings, that's a shame. Now, if somebody you love hurts your feelings, and you chose wrong.
It's like my self-esteem
you
is
chose
not
wrong.
tied to
Wait
your
a minute.
decision.
Now, Jamal, you just said you and your wife have knocked down, drag out fights, and she could call you whatever this magical phrase is, and it's on and popping. And it ain't on and popping because that's a sign that it's about to fight. It's because it hurts you. I mean, let's just be authentic here, right? That her saying that hurts your feelings. Thus, you like, I'm ready to get this in.
I'm ready to get it in.
So we treat the verbal combat almost like the weight room, right? We're doing nothing but exercising and getting stronger, matching wits, comparing theories and ideologies on something. So,
a very loud decibel.
Yeah, but you don't have to call somebody and I don't know if this is the term, but I'm just going to throw one out. You don't have to call somebody a fat fuck to do that. That's just not necessary. It's hurtful and it's mean.
Do you do that in your relationship? Do you call each other fat fucks?
So in our relationship, if it ever got to that level, the first reaction would be a smile because, I won, right? Oh, fat fuck, that's what you got? Catch your response? Yeah, shout out to you, right?
Throwing something out there.
But that's what I'm saying.
Basically, what you're saying is that if you resort to fat fuck, ugly bitch,
your mama's whack,
your mama's a hoe. If you resort to that, that means that you have by default lost that argument.
Yeah, we're too smart.
I can't agree with him on that.
Yeah, I agree with that too. If
you know how you really win?
Intelligent.
You know when you really win is when the other person gets silent and go, and can't say anything. And then that's how our fights are done. Like,
See,
Not
that's
with me, because if I
no.
get quiet, that means you really fucked up.
See, if I get quiet, that means
You-
that I'm holding some shit back that I think will make you just weep.
ooh, shit.
No,
Weep.
if I get quiet,
Sob.
that means you said something so explosive. I'm probably about to launch over whatever
Drown in the
table that
tears.
isn't between us and fuck you up.
But what could
it's
somebody
about to get
actually
physical.
say that's going to push you that far?
I'm about to get
Especially
medieval on
somebody-
that
A
ass.
lot
Yeah.
of things. I'm sensitive though.
Name one thing.
About
So-
to get medieval.
I don't even know if I want to say this stuff, right? Because this is social media, and people will take what you say and like use it against you, right?
Back with you later, yeah.
But fine, I'll to be vulnerable, I'll say it right. I have a thing with my intelligence. So if you say I'm stupid or I'm not smart, you've hit a button. I'm
And
probably
why is
about
that?
to react.
Why is that, Sean?
That's a whole childhood psychological thing that we don't have time for
Can we
today.
unpack it? Let's unpack it.
We don't have time to
We don't have
unpack
time to unpack
my
this shit.
childhood
My
trauma,
point
right?
is,
But
yeah.
as an example, if you come after my intelligence on social media, I'm going to feel away, and I'm probably going to do one or two things. Either I'm going to stop engaging because I know I have this thing, or I'm about to come after your ass. One of the two is going to happen, depending on my personal. So, but I think it's okay for people to say shit hurts my feelings.
Well, you need to highlight that one.
X made me throw a butcher knife at him, missed him by 3 inches. He was, what did he do, Sam? What is
Yeah,
that?
and he almost died for the
damn.
gaslight.
Yeah.
But I want to hear this story.
Yeah,
Matter of
yeah.
fact,
Well, as a
hit
matter
the
of fact,
link
you know
and
what?
come
Hit
in
that
and tell
link.
us.
Sam,
How
we need
about
you.
fun?
We need
This is
you.
great.
We need you, Miss Fuller. Bring your ass up
That
in
is
here
brilliant.
because that could get good.
Shit.
And by the way, well, I don't eat meat, but I don't even own a butcher knife. I don't eat meat.
Oh, well, I mean, you
Oh,
can
quit playing. Do y'all own guns? I heard y'all pushing the whole gun rights and Second Amendment piece.
I have guns.
Mhm.
not me. I don't.
We
like
have
guns.
we have several. I won't tell you how many. We have several in the house.
I don't really do the gun thing.
I like to shoot.
I'm
Mm.
a
But
Quaker
you know what?
in that way.
It's so funny because my fiance taught me how to shoot and bought me my own little revolver. So cute. It's like the size of my hand because I have small hands. And he won't let me shoot his semi-automatic because he feels like I don't have the hand strength to advance it. So he's like, just you need a revolver. And so all of my male friends are like, are you crazy? You taught her how to shoot a gun? Like, are you good? And one of my other friends he said, is it hope or wish? So he said, and so like, I hope nobody breaks in. And I'm like, I'm fucking wood. So, that's where we are. Anyway, that's a segue.
That
And
is
we were
a
just
huge
waiting-
segue.
We were waiting for Sam to come
So
in.
I don't think we answered the question at hand, right?
Yes, we did not.
Gina,
Huh.
ultimately, here's the question, right?
What you got?
Who's responsible for the hurt feelings or the anger feelings or the feelings of the person that feels the feeling?
Well, okay. I feel like there are two people at fault.
Okay.
There's the person who's trying to elicit the feelings intentionally. So they're pushing the buttons of the person based on their knowledge of that person to make them feel a certain way to try to for their own gain, right? That's the traditional definition. Then, there's the side of the person who is being gaslit. And there's the side of the person that's saying, you know what, I know I didn't leave that light on. You're not going to make.
Okay.
So I believe that the blame, because someone is trying, in the traditional definition of gaslighting, someone is trying to do. It isn't like
So it's both parties'
they're not
fault according to you.
innocent. They're not innocent. They're trying to do something, right? And how you respond to it is on you.
Mhm.
So if you want to cower in the corner and shake and cry, that's on you. But if you want to say, that's you have options.
So I agree with Gina as far as everybody has some responsibility in it. And I'm only talking about when you are in a relationship, and this is not just romantic, right? This is period. When you're in a relationship with somebody, it's both people's responsibility, right? It's the responsibility of the person having the feelings, right? In my opinion, to really kind of decide if this is something worth having a reaction to, right? Because sometimes we just react for the sake of reacting, because of our childhood trauma, because of
Someone's
our
pushing
bad
that button
work.
specifically.
True.
if someone knows you have that like thing about like fucking with your intelligence, and they're like, and so that's your thing, and they know it.
Yep. I agree, which leads me to the other part, right? If the person, if you
coming in,
I'm about to, well, dang you, because I really want to hear that story.
How you gonna drop some shit like a butcher knife
But
and then not come in?
But
Come
he
on,
would say
Stan.
the meanest, nastiest crap. That was the end of our marriage. It was the
she was
kitchen
married.
chopping onions, and he was
She
talking
was
shit, and the butcher knife left my hand. It left. It just leaped.
Sometimes it's an out of body experience. I feel her on that.
Nobody has ever gotten that reaction out of me before.
That's an indication that divorce is.
I haven't shared this on this podcast, but I'll share it now. When I was very pregnant with my daughter, me and her dad had a fist fight. It was over something kind of small.
Did he retaliate with the fist fight? While you were pregnant?
Nah, he was trying to push me off.
Okay.
But I definitely like hit him in the face a few times. But he was to your point, right? He was pushing my buttons. He was, and I'm not even a violent person, mostly.
Everybody's violent if the right button.
I'm not mostly violent, but he was really like, I'm gonna say whatever I need to say to keep pissing you off. And I just had enough.
Very healthy to do.
Enough pregnant hormones going through me to say, all right, let's go. So I'm with Sand Fuller on that. Violence is never the answer. Lies. Okay, sometimes it is the answer.
Never the
But
answer.
back to my original point. I do think the person, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they tell you they have an impact from whatever happened, right? Whether you did it intentionally or unintentionally, I think it's important for you to want to have that conversation with that person. That doesn't mean that you're right or wrong. It could really be something tiny that all you have to do is say, you know what? I didn't mean to do that. That's not my intention. I love you to death. And it's over. But I think sometimes we get so caught up. What's the question? You should be paying attention, Brian.
Yeah.
I think we get so caught up in trying to be right or wrong or not be at fault or not be the blame that we miss the entire point or the opportunity in the conversation to just say, hey, my bad, homie. And we don't have to be anything further than that.
The person that says my bad. Like, okay.
Well, if you had an impact on somebody, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's say I said, even in friendship, right? I said something about you being poor. A lot of black people get upset about being poor, right? Unintentionally. And you were like, you know that thing you said about me not having money? A little shitty.
It's true.
Maybe feel a little shitty, right? If you're my friend and I did not mean to impact you that way,
right,
then I would say, girl,
I would try to offend your broken.
I was drunk. And that was literally not my goal. I was trying to be funny, but if my poor attempt at a joke landed you there, you're my girl. I love you. Absolutely not. That's not what I love you.
Miss
The
Watson.
first one was apologies, loser. The first one to apologies, loser.
It's not about winning, Brian.
Miss Watson.
It's not about winning.
Gina, Miss Watson, it is about winning. Here's the piece, man. You guys are talking about these first time relationships. You've known each other for a week or a month. Once you get past a year or two, it's time to be real with each other. There comes a point when if I recognize in you that there's this weakness in regards to this whole intelligence factor, how long is it going to take before you go, you know what? Yeah, that was dumb. And if I care for you, if I love you, I'm going to help you get to the point where you're like, yeah, you know, I am smart. As a matter of fact, I'm going to build you up. But when we fight, you're going to be reminded about that thing that you feel kind of weak about. But you're going to get your muscles strong. You're going to get
an asshole.
You're going to get beyond it. You'll be like, yeah, get that. Oh, you going with the dumb comment again? I'm not dumb. And you'll be done.
If I'm dumb, then you're dumb for being with my ass.
Exactly. That would be the comeback. And then I can't even talk about dumb no more. Right? I mean, that makes it so easy.
I've been with my fiance for almost 13 years, right? Okay. And so we're beyond the point. Like, I think we both have realization that we have each other's back. Both know that. And so when I push on him about something, he knows that it's because I'm trying to make it better, right? And sometimes it's a tough conversation to have, and he doesn't always like it, and I don't always like it. But sometimes it has to happen because that's how you grow. And if it's somebody that I've known a week,
fuck your feelings.
Then fuck your feelings. And then I'm out.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because I don't care. Like if I'm there in a week, that means we're done. Because now if I think you're an idiot a week into the relationship, then I'm like, well, what kind of idiot am I? I've been a week with an idiot, right? Like so, but I don't really care to believe that I've spent that long with an idiot. So I'm like, you're not an idiot. I know this. But you cognizantly understand that that's bullshit. No, it's bullshit. Know that I know it's bullshit. Know that I know that. So let's all just let's just admit where we are.
That this is bullshit.
And you need to fucking admit it.
And that's good. And see, somebody won. When we get to the point where that realization comes out that y'all both realize that was some bullshit.
Someone's got to tap out, right?
Right. It's like, yeah, you know what?
Y'all are too committed to winning.
I was on some. No, I'll admit sometimes I was on some bullshit. You're right. I shouldn't have done that dumb shit. I don't know what I was thinking. Blah blah blah. But I may have to be pushed to that realization because at the moment it seemed like a real good idea to save.
But I'm going to take it a step further. What you need in your life, I think that someone who's in your life and push you to do better has done you a disservice.
I would agree with that.
So, and you know, I'm like that with my friends. I'm like that. I mean, my friends will all tell you that I am very blunt. And they do not ask me for answers that they do not want to know, right? Because I'm like, do you want me to just listen, or do you want
some advice? Right. Yeah, I'm definitely with that.
We're gonna have a whole different. But I don't want someone that's gonna be like, oh, yeah.
But do you have to?
On some bullshit.
But do you need to be gaslit in order for somebody to tell you you want some bullshit?
No. So gaslighting is a different animal altogether.
This is what
gaslighting is. You're trying to trick somebody into getting some shit you want. That's what gaslighting is.
In a more modern definition of that, you're trying to, in my opinion, you're trying to avoid any kind of responsibility and whatever happened.
It's a con.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
That's what gaslighting. It's a con. It's a whole con.
Because I think what we're talking about is completely different, right? You have to sometimes have hard conversations with people. Sometimes you have to say, "Hey, you are fucking up, and I know you can do better than this." That's not gaslighting.
So tell me this,
That's
Sean.
different.
If you don't want the hard conversation, but you want to be slick about getting somebody to do what you think they need to be doing, right? Like say it's time for us to work out. We need to work out more. I work out. Hey, I need you to work out with me. I don't want to work out with you. Hey, we're gonna get up in the morning, hit the weight. I don't want to. So now it's time to gaslight. So you've already rejected the nice invitations to get this workout in. So I might have to say something like,
but that's not gaslighting, because you know what? Gaslighting is rooted in some nefarious shit.
Yeah, but he's nefariously trying to get her to work out. He doesn't explain.
Let me take it
because it's for the greater good. So
it's still manipulative.
But you know who is the original gaslighters, really?
Apparently Jamal.
No. You want to know who the original gaslighters are? Real talk?
People.
Women.
Oh,
you know why? Because you know why?
Hot take.
I'll tell you why.
Hot take.
Because I'll tell you why. Because
wait, pause a second. I need every man in the comments to put some applause, because a woman actually acknowledged that women are massive gaslighters.
We are.
Y'all just sitting here like saying absolutely nothing. I need the comments to light up.
I will tell you why. Because so many times men do not listen to direct, like, you know, I have to make my fiance think shit is their idea, is his idea, in order for him to do it. So I gotta gaslight his ass. I've got to be like, well, baby, don't you think blah blah blah? I mean, it's strategic. If he doesn't feel like he came to that decision organically, it will not happen. So therefore, what I've got to do is I've got to say, what can I do
to get him to take out the garbage?
Houseway. What can I do to make him think that this is organically his idea? Brian, you know what's up. Brian Foster's like, Gina, yes, yes. So that is what we are, the original guy. We're also the original rehabbers, because we gonna fix that man.
Oh goddamn, we need to do a show on why fixing men is a.
We are the original rehabbers.
Well, okay,
like forget all these contractors you see. We are the first.
We need to do a show.
We will fix a man
about when we should and should not take fixer-uppers.
Well, you know, location, right? All fixer-uppers are not good fixer-uppers.
I agree.
First of all, get rid of a myth. First of all, y'all don't fix nothing. Let's just be clear.
Shit.
What happens with women is that sooner or later the right man chooses you. You guys just accept any man. Y'all think y'all fixing some stuff up, then you're suicidal because he didn't treat you right.
Nah,
and all of a sudden, knight
not
You gonna make
smart
me?
woman.
You gonna make me mute you?
Not a
You
smart
gonna make
woman.
us mute you?
See, Jake's over here. He's got the button. Just so we're clear,
You gonna make us mute you?
Jake's got the button.
God damn it! That's some bullshit.
but-
And you know that. You know your wife has poured into you, and you are a better person now than when you met her day one.
I'm the
Stop
knight
it.
in shining armor.
That's what you think. You know what the smart women do?
Make you think you did it?
The smart women position themselves to be chosen by men that they want to be with.
I'll grant you that. I'll grant you that. Yes, ma'am.
How many times have you thrown your ass at some dude? Like, look, if there's a guy that you're like, okay, okay, I want to be in front of that one because I want to be the bait that he selects.
Mhm.
And if you're a smart woman, once again, you're making that his idea.
Yes.
That's his idea. And he never, ever needs
Y'all
to
see how
know.
stupid y'all are?
Never needs
Just-
to know that it was your idea.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Every man, not every man, a lot of the men I've dated, they look way better after I'm done with them.
A lot of men I dated don't.
They look a
In
lot
fact,
better
I feel
after I
bad
left.
for the women that come behind me. I'm just like, how about that? I give my old toys to the less fortunate.
Damn. I don't even know what to say after that.
Donate that one.
All the women I dated, I don't even know about them anymore.
Who cares?
That they don't matter.
Who cares?
They
Just
don't
keep
matter.
on
You've been
moving.
married almost 30 years. Who cares? They don't
Yeah,
matter.
Brian's like, y'all don't think.
Yeah,
You know what? We don't, but we think we do. This is the thing. It isn't about whether or not we fix them, but we feel as though we are the original. We are setting out with our toolkit to try and fix people who should not. People should not be fixed, first of all. Like, I don't agree with the concept of fixing a man. Like,
I need to fix your
I'll
wardrobe.
leave his ass somewhere, like someone else. Like that is the what is that? The what Christmas movie is that? It's like the Land of the Misfit Toys. What was that one? Do you remember? Anybody?
I'm blanking.
No? Okay, it wasn't the one with Heat Miser. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, there was a land.
Fix my plans. Fix my plate. Brian is on a roll. He is
Fix
just
my
in the
plate.
comments
He's like,
going
"Fix my plate.
crazy.
Just make me some food, bitch." Yeah, he's like.
I'm gonna text Allison that right now that you said fix her plate.
That's
what's
dirty
the-
pool. There we go with the terrorism. You want the man to be honest, be false and fix the plate, and now you gonna tell on him? What kind of terrorism is that?
You said who said women are the original gaslighters? I'm just doing my job as a woman.
I said it. It's me. Can you hear me? Am I like? Okay. We had some time.
She got a little excited.
I was excited. So I
Start
was
breaking
like,
up
you know,
the equipment.
I'm breaking up the infrastructure over here because I was so excited.
So basically,
And drinking.
all I'm getting from this conversation that gaslit is an effective tool to
Manipulate.
win a fight, and B, make men do what you want them to do. Is that what I'm understanding?
Well,
from
everyone's got
this conversation.
If gaslighting is going to happen, then everyone should use it for their advantage.
Damn.
We're playing chess, not checkers, ma'am.
Although sometimes it is checkers, Jamal.
Apparently for you too.
People overrate chess sometimes. And sometimes everyone does not deserve your chess game. Sometimes it's jump, 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 jump. We done.
Sometimes it's just simple.
Yeah, sometimes it is simple.
I can't think of the stud chess player, but that's who I'm playing every night, and that chess player is real. I gotta bring my A game, man.
Did you say a stud chess player?
Yeah, there's one guy right now.
Bobby, what's his
I
name?
play chess, and not Bobby.
Okay.
Who's the stud? Somebody in the audience, tell us who to look for. Somebody
Yeah, I know
in
who
the
you're
audience
talking about.
tell
It's
us who
bothering
the
me,
stud
yeah.
chess guy is right now.
He's gonna look it up.
That's who my wife.
You know, let's just say Queen's Gambit. Let's work on that.
Hey, look at you. Shout out.
All right. So clearly we have moved to a place where gaslighting is effective, and we've come up with some strategies
Gaslight works sometimes.
on how to how to effectively gaslight people. Now, here is a question that Tu said during the show that I'm curious about, and I'm gonna start with you, Jamal. Are we just too fucking sensitive?
Great answer.
Everyone's too sensitive. That's a whole different show.
That is the problem, man. Even these reactions is why I'm such an anti-gun advocates because we're an emotional people as opposed to people of action. And we do things in the moment, and we're always quick to allow for someone else to have made us. You made me angry. You made me feel like ain't nobody made you.
You triggered me. Bitch, I'm not responsible for your triggers. Figure that shit out yourself.
Facts.
That's how I feel.
Damn, you all I don't want to be in a relationship with neither one of y'all. My sensitive ass would never make it.
That's not a relationship thing, though. You know what? I read this stupid ass article last week about how Gen Z feels that the thumbs up emoji and the heart emoji are threatening, and they feel that should.
Oh, I did see something about that.
I'm just like, I think I need you guys to find occupations and to figure out how you're gonna be not threatened by a goddamn emoji.
You know what? Here's where I will say I'm with two on. We talked about toxic positivity, which is a form of gaslighting.
Facts.
Is it?
And it is a form of gaslighting.
In what sense?
Yeah, the real theory is neutrality. But go ahead with that.
So I would have to say the definition, Jacob. I don't know if you can pull up the definition really quick and we can read it, because I don't have it in front of me. But no, just toxic positivity.
Sorry.
No problem.
That's okay.
This is an informal show.
So while that's coming up, I read this guy. He's called Burn My Goals. He's one of those out of the box thinkers, and he comes on with this thing called gracious neutrality. That you don't want to be too high or too low, and those over positive people are toxic. So I'm 100% with what you're going with on that.
And they're like violently nice.
Yeah, right. Like, and you gotta always be nice.
I work with some people that are.
No, I think it's
nice.
the top one, Jake. There you go. Share that. All right. Would you care to read or I'll
toxic positive? I can't even see it now.
You got to go back to the
yeah. Okay. There you go. Toxic positivity happens when people believe that negative thoughts about anything should be avoided. Oh yeah. Well, that's your aunt that whispers anything bad, like drugs. You know what I mean? Like she dropped out of school, pregnant. You know what I mean? Like it's just like don't say anything negative. Don't say anything negative.
No, it's more like, if let's say that you had a bad breakup, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, you know what? Even though you're in the midst of the breakup, I just have to realize that tomorrow's going to be a better day, even though you feel like absolute and total shit. That's toxic positivity.
Yeah.
Instead of just acknowledging.
I mean, even in response to events that was normally
that
would evoke sadness.
You're sad. It's okay to be sad. Or if you have the friend who is constantly trying to find the rainbow in everything, and you're just like, I just want to be sad and eat ice cream. I don't need you, pointing out the silver lining in this shit. I just want to be miserable right now. It's really okay for me to be miserable. That is toxic positivity. You won't even allow the person to feel the emotion, because you need to go through that, right? You need to say, hey, I'm sad so I can get through it. Toussaint Warner, Chantel Chess agreed with you. I have come to peace that apparently me and Tu are simpatico, except for in one or two areas.
Spirits.
But we agree with a lot of stuff, like the Black community. It's kind of terrifying to me, quite frankly. It ain't about Tu right now. Back to the toxic positivity. I am a firm believer people need to go through an emotion. If you don't go through whatever it is, whether it's sadness, anger, depression, it's just going to show up later in some incredibly unhealthy way.
You know what? See, okay, as Black people, I think that some of our institutions are victimized.
How so? Please share.
Okay, so, if you look at and it's, I hate to say this, but I'm sure there's going to be people that are like, that's bullshit, or whatever. If you look at our oldest publications, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ebony Jet, whatever. There was never there would be exposés on people, there would be things on people or topics, and there was never anything disparaging about any of those.
Oh, so they weren't critical about Black folks?
They were, and I was a journalist around the time, I've been a journalist for a while, and so you couldn't say anything negative.
That is such an interesting thought, right? As a community, we're not really allowed to talk about the bad or negative aspects of the community, or even being a Black person.
Because it's like showing out in front of company. But at the same time, we have to have an outlet for it, otherwise, because it exists, right? And then there's an undercurrent that we have as a result of it, but just to kind of be able to acknowledge it openly, it would be, I think, helpful.
Like the you have the uncle who's the molester.
Yeah,
We
the
love-
dirty. You just call that's dirty Uncle Phil. It's like, no, that motherfucker needs to be in jail. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Come here, girl. Let me see you. Turn around. It's like, that man's a pervert.
So Jamal, did we just uncover that the Black community really suffers from toxic positivity?
No, and and then you guys went off on that side part about the molesting uncle. Then, all right, I can't argue with the molesting uncle, but that's shame on the family for allowing that cat to be around babies in the whole nine and not in jail or got his ass whooped for doing what he did. But back to this part about the community and us trying to be positive. It's because everyone else is negative about the Black community. Any press we get is negative. We can't forward that mystique because it's already out there. And the only way it gets balanced is if we push the opposite narrative. And then
we go too far. Okay, so
Brian is bringing up an interesting point.
Like people who defend Kanye, but that man's a genius. That no one understands him. He's on a different level. It's like, yeah, he's insane. He's on a different level, and he,
I actually don't think he's insane.
Well, okay, here's the deal with Kanye. Kanye makes a good point about 50% of the time, which, by the way, is failing on any grading scale. Okay, just so we're clear. Okay, if you get a 50% in class, you failed. So, okay, but the other 50%, he might as well be sitting on the porch. I'm like, I can make a booger talk, because the rest of it's fucking gibberish.
I disagree.
So he has some salient points in between all that crazy shit.
I actually think 90% of the time,
come on,
he makes sense.
On.
Now, what's really happening here is that the way he delivers it is inflammatory. Number one, it's always inflammatory. It lacks any kind of grace. But he's not.
He is indelicate.
Wrong most of the time.
He said slavery was a choice. He said,
he said the dude
didn't die of a knee on his neck. He died of drugs. He said,
George Floyd.
He said Harriet Tubman.
His knee was not on his neck that hard.
What did he say about Harriet Tubman? I forgot. I didn't say he was never wrong.
Shit. Like real talk.
He's always wrong.
Said he wasn't
The
wrong.
only thing he hasn't been wrong about
twice a day.
The only thing he hasn't been wrong about is his beats. If he just made beats, he'd be the man. But besides that, he wants to keep talking. That dude's crazy. Certified.
Real talk.
I'm kind of like, I don't know if he's crazy. Look, I'm not saying the man is right.
I thought
saying some of the stuff he's been saying lately makes. I'm like,
you're about to make me gaslight you.
I mean, like,
just don't call me dumb and we straight.
I just don't. I don't pay attention.
I'm going straight for that. You know that. I wrote a note about it.
I didn't want to say it because now people are gonna be like, "You're stupid," and just be waiting back.
And now she's mad. Now she's like about to blow up your house. Who do you think he is?
How do we get on? How is Kanye?
We were talking about the positivity in the Black community and how it's possible, why it's necessary, because we're the only, and here we go with race, but we're the only group whose every stigma and stereotype is negative. It's like, Black people are dumb. Black people are animals. Black people are violent. Black, blah, 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 right? And when we have those positive messages out there that never hit the airwaves, it's only a shame on us. So like the young brother that becomes a genius at 12, we got to promote that. So, young Black kids can be geniuses. And when we got the brother who's a dad, we have to prove that Black men can be fathers, because the word on the street is that Black men are fathers, when it turns out Black men are the best fathers. So, I mean, we're the biggest victim of negative marketing, propaganda, and the only people
I don't disagree with you.
It's us. And if we start agreeing, soon as we say, like your boy Kanye, hey, he made a song about gold diggers, then married one. Shut, that dude's crazy.
But I think we do ourselves a disservice, right? And I think that Black father thing is a very interesting point to kind of dig into, right? Because shut up,
Jesus Christ, help us out.
Shut up, too. We still disagree on some really strong points.
Hey, too.
But we agree a lot. But the Black father thing, right? I think we do ourselves a disservice. I think we should acknowledge Black fathers are the best fathers when they are involved. But I also think we do ourselves a disservice when we don't acknowledge that we have a high number of fathers who are not involved. Because if we don't talk about that and we don't acknowledge it and we don't discuss it, then we're not even
It doesn't exist for us.
We are
it does exist for us.
gaslighting women who are dealing with men like that. We're trying to make believe like those niggas don't exist, and they absolutely do.
No, that is not the case. We know they exist. We speak about
but we don't
all
acknowledge them
in our private conversations. But now the whole world is trying to paint a picture that the good black man doesn't exist, and the only people who can go against that conversation are black folks. But here's the real part about this is that if we're ever going to get to a point of where black unity, community, togetherness exist, it's going to be based on us believing it first, right? Belief is everything, and we're too busy trying to not believe the truth, right? We're too busy buying it, like this whole motif about black men and black women not getting along.
I think that's true. Facebook is a microcosm of that.
It is.
You guys are legitimizing this, like, what is it, black on black violence? Well, yeah, black people.
Oh no, that's not real. That's not real.
I brought this up at work, right?
Yeah.
I brought this up at work. I'm like, everybody, like I work with all white people, basically.
Don't we all?
And so we all do. And so if we make money, but, and so it's I've been fucking with them for months on the white on white crime that's happening in Ukraine. I'm like, nah, fuck that. All that white on white crime happening in Ukraine right now. I don't want to talk. Yeah, you guys don't bring that shit up domestically to me. So anyway,
but Jamal, I think it would be disingenuous, right? Black on black crime is not real. People kill people in their proximity. Period.
It
hard
is a
stop,
fact.
right?
But and husbands and wives get divorced, and men of all different races have children out of wedlock.
Absolutely.
And, I mean, all of that stuff is just
it's true. It's all true.
But we love to put a black lens on most of the negative things, and it sticks because we've been so stereotyped, dehumanized, and degraded since the beginning of time that now even we start to believe. Like y'all had a great conversation.
We didn't debunk it. It's still real. I know you don't like the word, but you'll be all right.
He's trying to gaslight us now.
But if we're constantly saying all the good things about black people, right? And I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about the ones who got into Harvard and got like $50 million in scholarship money. We absolutely need to talk about that. But I also think we're gaslighting the community. We don't talk about the shit that's not working. If we don't talk about R. Kelly, if we don't talk about Bill Cosby, if we don't talk about
R. Kelly,
all I'm saying
is,
how are you acting like they didn't come up? How are you acting like our whole entertainment genre isn't based on the dozens, isn't based on degradation? Every movie, not every movie, most movies, most songs, most music, almost all of our entertainment is based on black folks don't do this, black folks act like this, black folk. But
we don't have to
negativity.
I agree with you, but there's a way, as we talked about earlier, right? There's a way to frame a conversation where it's not making black people small, not feeding into white supremacist narratives of what isn't working in the black community. There's a way to do that and
without
acknowledge
being Candace Owens.
There is a way to do it without driving these negative narratives. If we talk about what R. Kelly does and we say it from an honest place, that's not feeding into white supremacy. That's acknowledging that he was peeing on children.
Right.
That just is what it is.
Irrespective of the remix to Ignition.
If we say, look, Bill Cosby was drugging and raping women, that's not feeding into white supremacy. That is just the truth of the matter.
It is
that as we know it,
so
allegedly.
All those conversations can be had based on pedophilia. You don't pee on children and have sex with them. We can talk about drugging and raping women because it's going on. You don't GHB and drug and rape women. And Bill Cosby being one black man who did it shouldn't be pervasive on all black men. And R. Kelly doing it.
Pedophile.
Oh God. Wow. Okay, I'm about to end this conversation because now we've gone into some scary territory.
But it's true. You can do good things and still be a pedophile.
He did. He took care of the HBCUs for a long time.
But can anybody consider that's like, that's
a way to kind of hide his nefarious behavior.
His carbon footprint, let's just say.
I don't even think that's
First of all, let me defend Mr. Cosby for a second.
Why would you do that?
Because he came up in the 1960s and 70s when drug use and experimentation was a given thing, and even the
Quaaludes and rape is cool.
So rape is okay. He was born in 1942.
They don't have one police police reports saying Mr. Cosby raped anybody until 2020. Where were these police reports in 1970, 1960, 1980?
No one believed
Actually-
women in 1970.
Actually, and we about to cut this.
Yeah. Well, they're still brutal.
And if you listen to some of the testimony of some of those women, some of them did go to the police and the police laughed at them. But we're not about to go into this whole Bill Cosby thing because that's a whole nother
That's a
goddamn
whole different show.
And
We should put that on the docket.
So, and
Yeah.
we have gone all over the damn gamut, mainly because we fucking all over the place. And Jamal just fosters all over the place.
He does, yeah,
which
he
is
helps us
okay.
out. This is good. This
It's
is dope.
okay. We love when you
Our
come on.
resident alpha is here.
I thought Brian was our resident alpha.
Well, obviously he is today. He's got his A5.
And let me just say, Jamal, I
Hey,
love
let me
the
tell y'all a
shoe
story about
chest.
Brian. So
Go for it.
that time,
Jay
right
has
after
no
I met
place to
my
go.
wife,
Like, get the hell out the studio.
right after I met my wife,
Our producer's like, get the fuck out.
so we were hiding out and we needed a place to stay so that folks couldn't find us. And Brian put the boys up. Shout outs to you, Frat. You always in my house for that, homie. Let's go.
Oh, well, first of all, Jamal,
McRib sandwich for Brian Foster because he housed it.
before they run out, because this is the last go around for
year
McRib.
for McRibs.
This is
I
the
haven't had
last-
McRibs since I was 20
The
years old.
last go around for McRib. But Jamal, thank you. I know you always hop in. You were not on the docket, but we love when you join in.
We do.
We
Thank
do
you.
have another show in a couple of weeks that I want to have you back for that I think you'll be perfect for. But I'll
Officially.
reach out to you and talk to you about that. But thank you. You always are insightful and help foster our not staying on topic.
He wants a McRib. See that?
Brian wants a McRib.
Done.
I-
Thank you, ladies.
Uber Eats,
I
brother.
have lots of questions about that. That bougie
Do you have
motherfucker wants a
questions?
McRib.
He's undercover.
Is he gonna eat that with his ascot? Shout
You
out
eat
to
that with
two.
his ass? Okay.
But thank you, Jamal, for coming on. Gina, pleasure as always.
It's never not a pleasure to
It's-
be on
I-
the show.
I know you've been
I'm
helping
so
out.
happy to have. Thank you for having me. as a guest.
And next week, I definitely think we're gonna talk about this. Unless we come up with something even more ratchety. But we actually have not talked about the sex game at all on In the Zone. I cannot believe in almost 3 years, Brian has never talked about the sex game.
We need to talk about that.
So
There's
we're
lots to
gonna-
talk about.
We're
Lots to
going to talk
unpack.
about what really matters. We're going to do the woman's edition. We'll do a man's edition at a later date.
Foreplay begins in the morning.
But we're going to talk about what really matters. Do you really need to have a 12-inch dick to satisfy a woman?
That's a house
We will
record.
dig
It's a house record.
into these ratchety, unnecessarily. We don't need to talk about this, but we're going to talk about this.
We are.
Because why the
We
fuck
are.
not?
Because there are fallacies. And we need to
Honestly, especially the fallacy about all black men having big dicks.
Because
That lie.
to be real clear.
Good Lord have mercy.
The biracial one. Some of them take the wrong side.
Anyway, we be pulling from the wrong gene pool. But thank you, comments. Thank you, Brian. Thank you, too. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.
I saw you, J Law. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And we will see you guys again next week.